Hello friends, welcome to another video. Today is a review for Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. That's the best way to tilt that so you can see. She's kind of got a green shirt on and it looks like, well, nettles and bones like as a cape. I don't know, is that easier to see? I like the inside the cover. Well, actually, because I can't take the dust jacket off because it's a library book. So we've got the main character there, and then the other side is a dog, bone dog. I will, like I was saying, I got this book from my library, Kingdale Library here in Stephenville. This one's actually from the Kingdale Library. I didn't borrow it from somewhere else, like one of the a few of the other books I read where they've come from another library in Newfoundland. I will read the description. Mara never wanted to be a hero. As the shy, convent-raised third-born daughter, she escaped the traditional fate of princesses to be married away for the sake of an uncaring throne. But her sister wasn't so fortunate, and after years of silence, Mara is done watching her suffer at the hands of a powerful and abusive prince. Seeking help for her rescue mission, Mara is offered the tools she needs, but only if she can complete 3 seemingly impossible tasks. Build a dog of bones, sew a cloak of nettles, capture moonlight in a jar. But as is the way in tales of princes and witches, doing the impossible is only the beginning, hero or not. And now, joined by a disgraced ex-knight, a reluctant fairy godmother, and an enigmatic grave witch, and her foul familiar, Mara might finally have the courage to save her sister and topple the throne. This was a pretty quick read. It did take me a couple days, but only because I have a life and other things to do. The main characters are obviously Mara. The grave witch they're talking about, she calls her the Dust Wife. The fairy godmother is Agnes, and the knight is Fenris. And of course, Bone Dog, the dog made of bones that she does make. And her 2 older sisters, Kanya, and Damia. I feel like I'm butchering these names. I am so sorry. But yeah, so this one, the author even says it in her back when she does a little description. It's kind of sort of a retelling of The Princess and the Pea and Little Red Riding Hood, like mashed together. It's kind of interesting twist. It's not quite really a retelling of those stories per se. There are pieces of them that are in the story, but not really. I had a lot of people tell me that it was a really dark book, and T. Kingfisher is known for writing horror, but I didn't particularly find this all that dark, really. I mean, the Dust Wife can commune with the dead, and she has a dog made out of old dog bones that she's built a new skeleton out of. But besides that, I didn't find it any darker than any dark fairy tale I've read before. I mean, I didn't find it that dark. I absolutely loved the writing. It is very descriptive. The characters are so relatable. Mara and Fenris are both older. Mara is 30 and Fenris is in his late 30s in the story. Like, they're not teenagers or early 20s like you often see in adventure books with princesses and knights and stuff like that. And I wouldn't really, they call him an ex-knight, but he's more of like a barbarian warrior knight than like the traditional English knight that you think of with armor and stuff. There's obviously magic. And the 3 things that they tell you at the build a dog of bones, sew a cloak of nettles, and capture moonlight in a jar, that has very little to do with the actual adventure The rest of the book, that literally says that's just the beginning. That really is just the beginning. The rest of the story is about gathering her friends and coming up with a plan and executing the plan to save her sister. It would be PG-13 overall. There's a tiny bit of romance between Merritt and Fenris, but it's like slow burn and doesn't really come to anything until the very end. I felt the plot was medium paced, not like crazy slow, but it wasn't super fast. I guess the end got a little fast. There's people walking by the window, and my rye is super engaged. I know you can totally fascinated without the window. I'm afraid of putting him on the ledge. I feel like he'd fall off the windowsill. It was a standalone book. There's no sequels or anything like that, which is great for certain things. Sometimes you just want a standalone. You don't want a series. In my last video, which was for Spinning Silver, I mentioned this book, and it said that online said that they were similar, and I can see it now. They're similar in the fact that they are retellings of older traditional fairy tales that is very loosely based on those original stories. Very loosely. The best thing, I wouldn't say it's the best thing about this book, is there are actually 3 animal familiars, which is pretty nice. Everyone loves an animal familiar in a book, and they all have their own little personalities and jobs to do in the book. They are all important. Everyone has their own sort of job in the book, obviously. That they'd be useless. You wouldn't put them in the book if they didn't have a purpose. I didn't feel like it was too predictable. There wasn't any crazy twists thrown in. At least I wasn't shocked by any of the things that happened in the book, per se. There was definitely happy emotions, and I don't know how to describe it really. Like, they go to, okay, minor spoiler, but I'm not going to give any major details away, but they go to the fairy market, and there are some pretty descriptions. So it's not really appalled, just like that was kind of strange and weird, but I mean, it's a fairy market, so of course there's weird and strange things, and there's definitely foreshadowing in the book with different things, and if you're paying attention, you'll clue into those foreshadowings. Not huge, not a lot of them, just a couple. I'm at a loss. You just have a brain fart and you don't know what you're saying. I forgot where I was going with this book. I mentioned the familiars. Those are awesome. Oh, and how the characters are relatable and they're older, so you feel even more relatable to them. At least I do, being over 30. It is nice and refreshing instead of having all these young people running around, as they often do in fairy tale stories. Compares to, I guess, other retellings of fairy tales like Spinning Silver, that's a little different than traditional. I can't really think. I liked the ending. It was wrapped up nicely. I totally forgot to finish how the ending was for Spinning Silver. So if you saw that review and you're wondering, she didn't say how she liked the ending. I did like the ending. I thought it was wrapped up nicely. This one is the same. It was a satisfying ending. No real loose ends, and telling you enough and leaving just the right amount to your imagination to make it all good, I mean, she could have gone into a little bit more detail, but it wasn't necessary. I would rate it 4 out of 5 stars. Solid, expectations passed, great writing, moving, page turner, very relatable characters. You see their growth throughout the whole book. I may or may not reread this one. I really did enjoy it though. I am definitely highly recommending it to all sorts of people. Check it out. 4 out of 5 stars for sure. I'm surprised Rye stayed with me this whole time. Maybe it's because I just got home and he's missed me all day. He's purring like crazy. Anyway, you guys have an absolutely wonderful day and check out the book. We will see you in the next video.